You're about to watch a video that is filled with beauty, dramatic scenery, and thrilling suspense. Welcome to Colorado's $1 Million Highway. It was mid-February and good to be back in Colorado again. I was just here in late fall. Man, what a spectacular sight that is. But nothing seems to bring the dramatic brilliance that comes in a Colorado winter. I was heading home from a hiking trip, traveling on Highway 133 headed to Delta. My plan was to take Highway 50 at Montrose over to Salida. Snow was coming down heavy and the roads were questionable. I had just gotten a weather alert on my GPS satellite indicating that Monarch Pass had been updated to chains only. That wasn't a problem. My chains were laying on the back floor. But if you've ever been on Monarch Pass, you know it can be hazardous even on a clear summer day. By this time there had been some pretty good snowfall and most of the interior roads were either closed or impassable. My other option was Highway 550 down to Durango, but that would put me having to travel the famed $1 Million Highway, which, like Monarch Pass, is quite a challenge even in summer. I've been on $1 Million Highway several times in the spring, summer, and fall months, but never in winter. I don't know if it was just the fear of the $1 Million Highway road conditions in winter, or the thought that I'd waste my time just to get down there to find out that the roads were closed. But for whatever reason, I intended to find out. If I could get through, I knew it would be a challenging but beautiful experience. I was now in Montrose where a decision had to be made. I pulled over, pondered my thoughts. I had pretty much eliminated Monarch Pass. I could turn around and go the long, safe way back to Glenwood Springs and run I-70 to Denver, but that had out of the way road all over it. My decision was made. Head to Ouray and see if the $1 Million Highway was passable. Upon entering the town of Ouray, signs were flashing, four-wheel drive only, chain up area ahead. I hoped I'd made the right choice. Oh well, I was about to find out. Then a strange thing occurred to me. I would be driving on the southbound lane, which unlike the northbound lane that hugs the mountain, has few guardrails and zero shoulder. But committed I was. Upon entering the highway, I knew this was going to be a drive that required full driver awareness, skill, with no room for driver error. The $1 Million Highway, one of the most breathtaking and demanding mountain roads in America. Carved into the rugged peaks of the San Juan Mountains, this historic stretch between Ouray and Silverton offers stunning views, steep drop-offs, and tight mountain curves that remind every traveler that nature still sets the rules. If you've ever driven the $1 Million Highway, you know it's not just another mountain road. Few guardrails, sheer 1,000-foot drops, and some of the most dramatic scenery in the American West. But this famous 25-mile stretch of highway between Ouray and Silverton wasn't built for tourists. It was built for miners chasing silver and gold deep in the mountains with a history that's just as rugged as the landscape itself. But this story began long before it became a modern highway. Chapter 1: Early History Before the Road. Long before a highway existed here, the rugged peaks of the San Juan Mountains were traveled by the Ute tribes. For centuries, the Ute people moved through these mountains following seasonal hunting routes and high country trails. But everything changed in the late 1800s when prospectors discovered gold and silver in these mountains. Suddenly, thousands of miners flooded into the region. Remote towns like Silverton appeared almost overnight. The problem? Getting supplies and equipment into these mountains was nearly impossible. Chapter 2: The Silver Boom of the 1870s. The real push to build routes through the mountains came after major silver discoveries in the San Juan Mountains in the 1870s. Mining towns like Silverton, Ouray, and Telluride sprang up almost overnight. The terrain was extremely difficult: steep cliffs, avalanches, and deep snow in the winter. But miners desperately needed transportation routes to move ore, supplies, and equipment into the mountains. Chapter 3: The Man Who Would Build the Road. Otto Mears, an 1880s businessman, Russian-born immigrant, who became famous for constructing roads and railroads across the Rocky Mountains where few others dared. Known as the Pathfinder of the San Juans, Mears built a toll road connecting Ouray and Silverton. This wasn't a highway, it was a narrow wagon road carved into steep cliffs so stagecoaches and freight wagons could move between Ouray and Silverton. Traveling it was slow, dangerous, and many times deadly, but it opened the door for the booming mining economy of the San Juan Mountains. Chapter 4: The Railroads. To improve transportation further, railroads were built throughout the region. One of the most famous was the Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad. This railroad hauled silver and gold ore out of the mountains and connected the small mining towns to the outside world. But even with the railroad, wagon roads were still necessary to reach high elevation mines scattered throughout the mountains. Chapter 5: Birth of the Modern Highway, 1910 to 1924. As automobiles became more common in the early 1900s, Colorado began improving its mountain roads. To build the highway, workers blasted rock, carved ledges into vertical mountainsides, fought avalanches, landslides, and brutal winter conditions, creating a road with many parts having no guardrails. Because much of the highway is built on unstable, narrow cliff faces, guardrails can't be safely anchored, and in many areas they'd actually create more danger by trapping snow, ice, and rockfall instead of letting it shed naturally. Today the highway climbs to elevations over 11,000 feet at Red Mountain Pass and is part of U.S. Highway 550. Chapter 6: Why $1 Million Highway? No one knows the exact origin of the name, but several popular explanations exist. One theory: construction cost. The road supposedly cost about $1 million per mile to build in the early 1900s. Another: gold ore. Some say the road's fill dirt contains ore worth millions of dollars. Another: $1 million views. The breathtaking scenery alone is worth $1 million. Regardless of the origin, the name stuck. Chapter 7: Ouray and Silverton, Colorado's real mountain towns. There's a quiet kind of goodness woven into the mountain towns of Ouray and Silverton, the kind you don't just see, but feel. Ouray, tucked deep in a rugged box canyon, life moves with a steady, grounded rhythm. The air is clean, the peaks stand watch in every direction, and the people carry a genuine warmth that reflects the simplicity of living close to the land. It's a place where strangers still greet each other, where hard work and humility are part of a daily life, and where the beauty of nature reminds you to slow down and appreciate what matters. Silverton holds on to something even older. a spirit shaped by history, resilience, and isolation. High in the San Juan Mountains, it feels like time never rushed through here. The wooden storefronts, the narrow streets, and the surrounding wilderness all echo a life built on grit and community. There's goodness in that honesty, in a town that hasn't tried to become anything other than what it is. Together, these towns represent something rare, places where the modern world hasn't erased the value of connection, where nature still sets the pace, and where the character of the people is still strong and enduring as the mountains themselves. Chapter 8. Final Thoughts. To drive the $1 Million Highway is to experience both beauty and humility at the same time. It rewards those who approach it with patience, caution, and appreciation. It's about honoring the history, the landscape, and the generations of people who built and traveled this legendary mountain road, and the towns that stand as beacons to remind all of the history that lay ahead. If you enjoy outdoor adventures, mountain history, and exploring places like this, make sure you subscribe at Twin Axe Outdoors. And if you've ever driven the $1 Million Highway, let me know in the comments. Would you drive it again? Was it worth the risk? Or was once enough? And if you haven't driven the highway, would you consider driving it in the future? As always, thanks for watching.